Well, good evening, Facebook community. This is Jennifer with Uplifting Life Naturally. Just hopping on here for a little bit for my evening live broadcast. I hope everybody had a nice weekend. It certainly was, beautiful, especially yesterday. So I hope everybody had some time to get out and enjoy the nice weather. So I wanted just to hop on here very informally and just talk to you guys a little bit about my experience with this keto diet. I'm sure, most of you have seen, or if you've been following me, have seen that I, had posted different things about the keto diet and wondering what people's opinions are. Certainly that post did get, various responses as far as some for it, some without it, as expected. It is something that's, out there. I know a lot of people have inquired about it, talking about it. Certainly as I started to read about it due to the questions that were coming towards me, given this health and wellness, business that I do, I certainly wanted to have some information to provide other than just, my personal opinion, maybe based on, what I think. So anyways, as I was reviewing and, looking through all the literature and stuff, certainly it was something that actually struck my interest. One reason being it, according to literature anyways, and again, I am going to preface that I'm still very new at all of this, and, by all means, if this is something that you want to consider or are considering, certainly make sure it's something that you talk to with your own personal health care provider to make sure that it's something appropriate for you. Because certain health conditions, you have to watch. It's not that you maybe necessarily can't follow this type of diet, but, there are some, what word am I looking for? Just alternatives and things that may need to be altered a little bit for you based on health conditions. One of those being diabetes, also kidney disease and high blood pressure. And also, as far as the risk of heart disease and such, which I'll talk about that here in a minute. But anyways, before I go any further, like I said, any of you who may be interested, certainly make sure it is something that you are reviewing with your own personal health care provider beforehand, just to make sure it is something safe for you if you have known health issues. So anyways, getting back to one of the things that struck my interest with this keto diet is it is a diet that can be used for management of epilepsy. So, I'm sure most of you, know my daughter Caitlin, who is 9, soon to be 10, was diagnosed with epilepsy last year. Certainly she's doing very well up until this point on medications. But as, any parent, I'm hoping to get her off of medications. We still have several months before we can, do a trial with that. But it's certainly something that struck my interest because, if we struggle with getting her off of medications, or even maybe as she, gets older and things, it's something that, might be beneficial given her history. So, that alone certainly sparked my interest, as well as just, my own interest with helping people with their own health and wellness, being, the healthcare profession that I'm in and what I do. So I figured the best way for me to actually, advise on this or give information is to actually try it myself. So a friend of mine from Louisiana actually is a registered nurse. She and I had, we've been running a little bit of a group with some other friends who wanted to try it as well. And she and I are doing it along with everybody else. So after we started it last week, and I'd have to say my opinion initially was, it was just a little weird. Certainly I had been following for the past year a clean eating type diet, watching the junk foods and such, eating more fruits and vegetables and things over the past year, and doing a lot of portion control, management. So switching to a diet that was high in fat and actually allowing me to eat cream cheese and bacon was just a little bit odd for me. But, I wanted to keep going with it. And certainly as I look through the options for foods that are recommended, I was interested, and certainly, any diet, quote unquote, that allows you to have cream cheese is right up my alley. I don't know about you guys, but, certainly I feel cream cheese is probably the 5th food group. So, I definitely like cream cheese, so now I can actually eat it a little bit more, and I've been loving that part of it. But anyways, I stuck it out and was doing pretty well. Now I will admit, so far I haven't been as diligent with keeping track of all of the macros just over the past day or two. Up until then, I would say that I was going a little bit over with my amount of protein. Well, let me back up here. On the keto diet, you want a low carbohydrate, a high fat, and a moderate amount of protein. So, there are different calculations and such that help you determine these macros, as they're referred to, as to how many grams and percentages of the foods that you eat that you should have, during that 24-hour time period. So I'm still working around with a couple of different apps to help me with that. And, I'm not one into liking numbers of any sort. So I have struggled, to be honest with you, but I'm working on that. And hopefully that's actually my goal for this week, to be a little more diligent with keeping track of those. But over this first week, I have taken the opportunity to, try out some different recipes, learn some of the foods that are recommended that we can have and what we shouldn't have. And basically what it comes down to for the foods that you shouldn't have are, what some people may refer to as the good stuff. Your breads, your grains, and certainly any of your concentrated sweets like your cakes and your cookies and ice cream and things of that nature, because of all of the sugar and the carbohydrates. Obviously we're following a low carbohydrate diet. So honestly, I feel, in my own opinion, I did fairly well with that part of it as far as avoiding the foods. Like I said, I may have been over a little bit maybe with my fats or my proteins. But I definitely, did great with, avoiding the concentrated sweets and the breads and the grains and things like that. So hopefully I'll continue to improve even more, but, really it wasn't too bad. I, have to admit that. After, I'd say, probably was about Friday, so it would have been day 5, I want to say I started to have some symptoms of what is referred to as the keto flu. So any of you who, may know a little bit about the keto diet or have been reading about it yourself, keto flu are, some symptoms that can occur, usually a couple of days after you start the diet, and they can last for, 24 hours or so, up to 2 weeks. And everybody's a little bit different with that, as our bodies all react differently. So I did experience that. Some of the common symptoms that one may experience as far as with the keto flu is some nausea or an upset stomach, irritability, sugar cravings, fatigue, and a brain fog, or, like a poor focus type thing. And actually, as I was reading about that, as I started this journey, I was thinking, what the heck does brain fog feel like? Or what is that? And out of all of the symptoms, wouldn't you know, that's actually, what I ended up getting. And on, Friday, I started with a headache. And then just by the end of the day, I just felt, and that's basically what it is, a brain fog. I can't really say I was confused. I have read about that a little bit in the literature, that some people mention, some confusion. I wouldn't say I was confused necessarily, but I just felt that, weirdness, or like a fog, a heaviness in my head. So, that definitely kind of fell on track. They do say that typically happens around day 4 or 5. That was day 5 for me. A friend of mine who's also doing this with me, she had developed some keto flu symptoms with the nausea and such actually on day 4. So 2 of us have experienced that. Not everybody will necessarily experience those symptoms. Some do, some don't. As far as if you do develop those, symptoms, you basically ride it out. But some things that you can do to help ease those symptoms is to eat some more fats, increase your caloric intake, drink more water, increase your amount of good carbohydrates like your vegetables and such. Don't do what I did and have a slice of bread, thinking I need to have some carbohydrates. And while it did work, in the whole scheme of things, it kind of defeats the purpose. But, one slice didn't do, any major harm, at least in my opinion, because it wasn't that, waking up the next day, I just, fell off the bandwagon altogether. I really was able to continue with it. But, eating those types of carbohydrates is not recommended. So that's basically, a couple of things that you can do if you get the keto flu symptoms. Now, as far as results, first of all, I have already briefly shared as far as my results in, my opinion as far as this diet. And like I said, initially in the beginning, I was kind of up and down and not really sure. I still haven't come to a full conclusion. Obviously, I've only been following this for about 1 week. I do, still have some more literature and stuff that I want to review, as well as, see how it goes. But I would say so far after 1 week, I am thinking that this is something that not only would I like for myself, but it is going to likely be an alternative that I utilize in my own health and fitness programs, in addition to the, portion control and clean eating type things. So, because I think it can have a place, and so far I'm seeing that it's effective. And with that said, I know, most people are interested in, okay, well, what kind of weight loss would you expect with that? And, for myself, to be honest with you, I'm not, shooting for a lot of weight loss. But again, I do know a lot of people that do struggle with that and have an interest of losing weight. So I want to make sure if I'm going to be helping people that I'm, getting the experience personally before I go, stating things that, may or may not happen. And after only 5 days, I don't have a scale here at my house, or one that works, I guess I should say. Really, since I started on this own health and fitness journey about a year ago, probably about 2 months into it or so myself, I just stopped weighing myself. Those who may follow in some of my fitness groups know I talk a lot about, looking for non-scale successes. Don't focus on a number. Our weights fluctuate from day to day, from timing of the day, and anybody trying to lose weight certainly knows when you jump on a scale, and if that number is not going down as you expect or would like it to, you get discouraged. So the scale is not something I, typically use, or I don't use for myself, and I certainly don't really even encourage it in any of my health and fitness groups for those reasons. But starting this with this diet, I guess you could say, I decided, well, let me weigh myself. And of course, like I said, I didn't have a scale here, so I weighed myself at work. And when we are weighing ourselves, we certainly want to make sure that we're utilizing the same, scale, weighing yourself first thing in the morning, all that, happy jazz type things. So I did weigh myself Monday morning, and then I did weigh myself again Friday, just because, I didn't want to wait until Monday to see. And I also felt that I was losing weight. So of course I was curious, and, I did. I lost 4 pounds. 4 pounds over those first couple of days. Certainly, as with any type of diet adjustment that you make, the initial weight loss typically is water weight. So, I'm, sure in this case that is the same as well, but I'm okay with that. Because it's still, removing some of that bloat and different things, and certainly I felt better. Even a friend had commented that I had seen briefly today, of course, delivering some Agnes and Dora clothing, thanks to Lynn, had mentioned too, since I had seen her just last week, that, it looked like I did lose a little bit of weight, and, those couple of pounds make a difference. So I'm happy to say so far I am seeing it effective, which, is also what I was curious to see, because the biggest issue in people that I work with, along this health and fitness journey is people who are trying to lose weight. I myself, am a firm believer that, weight and size does not matter. But I also understand too that, we all have our own level of comfort and such, and some people do want to lose weight, and, and that's okay. But at any rate, in my health and fitness groups, I focus more so on, feeling better about yourself and, feeling better psychologically, that type of thing. And of course, that's a byproduct of losing weight for most people. But at any rate, that is what I wanted to share. I know I'm a little winded with this, just kind of talking informally here. I appreciate everybody hopping on. I know there's been quite a bit, and certainly nothing I've perfected yet, as far as acknowledging everybody, but even so, there's way too many today. But I certainly appreciate everybody hopping on. Support is always appreciated. I hope, this has been somewhat informative. If there's any of you out there, considering the keto diet, I encourage you to, look into it. It definitely is a great option, I think, for some people. As I mentioned in the beginning, if you are somebody with any type of chronic health issues, especially diabetes, kidney disease, heart disease, high blood pressure, certainly make sure before you go, altering your diet dramatically like this, that you're talking to your own healthcare professional to make sure that it's something safe, for you as an individual. But with that said, any questions or comments, certainly drop them in the comment section below. I'd be happy to, answer any questions that anybody has. And, if you want to talk a little bit more one-on-one about the keto diet or your own healthcare or health and fitness interests, please reach out to me. You can reach me by, private message, or just drop a message in the comments below, and I'll be sure to be in touch with you. So with that said, I hope everybody, is, ready to have a nice week starting this week. I don't know about you. For the most part, I like Mondays in a sense because it's a great way to start over with my own goals. And, I always try to start the week off on a positive note. So with that, I encourage you to do the same. And for our kiddos here in the Richland School District, tomorrow is officially their last day of school. So we're all excited about that here in my house as well. I know a lot of other people have already started their summer vacation. So with that said, I hope everybody has a safe and happy summer. And hopefully I'll see you guys, either in person for those I know and have contact with, or at least here on Facebook. Again, I appreciate all your support. Have a great evening. Thank you. Good night.